Jesse, I'm going to be randomly paying you compliments this evening for this episode.
Oh no, public praise.
Well, you said on the last episode that I hadn't paid you a compliment in a while, so I'm going to fix that in this episode with 10 random compliments.
Did you make a table to roll on?
I did. So I would. In true fashion, in true TTRPG fashion, I will be rolling on a table and paying you a compliment.
Well, in true RPG fashion, I'm going to bring up some like random rules nobody cares about because I got an amazing Christmas present.
Oh, wow. Let's see it.
For those of you listeners at home, I'm holding up a box cover for the Advanced Dungeons and Dragons 2nd edition trivia game.
What the hell?
My brother-in-law, Alan, was practicing some music in a garage and saw this on a shelf and was like, oh my God, what's that? And the person said, oh, it's my brother's. He disappeared, ran off with some kid years ago and have his stuff. You want it? He was like, yeah. And so I got it for Christmas. So gentlemen, would you like a level 1 question, a level 2 question, a level 3 question, a level 4 question, or a level 5 question?
So many levels, man.
Let's do a level 3.
A level 3. All right, here we go. This is the biggest section of the stack. All right, our question is, Marlana the priest touches her companion and restores 2d8 plus 1 hit points of damage. Which enchantment did Marlana just use?
Cure light wounds.
Well, it's not an enchantment.
Wait, is this... What's even happening?
Well, it's 2d8 plus 1.
Oh.
Not 1d8 plus 1.
Oh,
Good
so
point.
cure moderate wounds?
No.
The Cure.
Yes, it is famed British goth pop band The Cure. Robert Smith appeared, poofy hair, lipstick, and all. And
if I can't have a good answer, I might as well have a dumb answer.
Yes. That is the Jaunty Mantis way. Sorry I interrupted you, Jesse. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say that did feature into something we were doing in role-playing games, how we always start the show, a show called The Jaunty Mantis, a podcast of creative questions for curious gamers. Hello, I'm one of your hosts, Jesse.
I'm one of your hosts, Maddie.
I'm somehow 2 of your hosts, Chris.
Both Chris's. We're glad to have you on the show as a regular cast member.
Mm-hmm.
So while it's fun to be here, what fun have you been having in role-playing games, Chris?
We didn't play on Sunday. People were out of town for Christmas stuff. I haven't been having any fun in role-playing games, apparently.
No.
We did our monthly game. No, that was still a while back. Yeah, no, I got nothing, man. I haven't played an RPG ever, apparently.
Been reading anything? Listening to any cool things?
A lot of podcasts, Happy Jacks and one called the Jaunty Mantis.
Oh, I love those guys.
Yeah, they're all right.
They're really popular with the Draw Steel community.
I'm just confused how there's 4 of them. Hopefully Maddie's been playing some.
Oh, yeah. We did session 0 last night on the game that I'm running, the mini adventure designed for 3 to 5 sessions. And folks, session 0 couldn't have gone better. It started very awkwardly and took a while to warm up. And that is exactly what I needed to happen. And Jesse, I want to pay you a compliment because I really appreciate the fact that when I said, who wants to go first, as far as I prepped all the players with a prompt of like, hey, think just rough draft a story in your head that your character would tell in a tavern, with an audience. and purposely make some of the details kind of vague so that like the other player characters could kind of insert themselves into the story or contradict it. And when it came time for character descriptions and the stories to be told, I got dead silence. And I was sitting there going, Jesse, please don't be the first one, because Jesse is often the crutch of like getting things going. He's a great source of energy. He's a great creative role player. He's very dependable. You could easily just go to him in a second and be like, Jesse, what did the king tell you, 3 years ago? And his character will know everything there is to know because he's very good on his feet. He's got great instincts, and he usually knows the right move before anyone else. But he didn't go. And so, Jesse, I want to say thank you for doing that. Thank you for not being the first person, because I think it helped get that session 0 off to a good start.
Well, you're welcome. It was partially a conscious thought, because I had the day before gone down to visit one of our friends who plays in the game in Texas. And we had, as old men often do, stayed up super late watching YouTube concert performances of Tori Amos. And so I was running on 4 hours of sleep, and I had said, I've got a character concept. I know this bit I'm going to do with the character, but I need to have this story that I tell in a tavern, and I will have the whole drive back to think of something. And so I'd be driving. I'd be like, all right, what am I going to do for this? And then I'm like, I need white monster, and it's very windy now, and the sky is gray. Nothing. It'll come to me when I get to the table. And I got to the table, and I had nothing. But I was like, I can say something that's not to my standards because I'm exhausted, but I'm going to tag off somebody else.
Well, you could have fooled me, because it felt like you were very prepared, which speaks to my earlier compliment of having a Jesse in your role-playing pocket as a game mother is a true blessing, because you can just, oh shit, I didn't think about that part of this story. Jesse, what does your character think of this? And then he will just go and solve that problem for you.
I'm your role-playing pocket monster, a Pokemon, if you will.
Jesse, you're dependable in a way that is rare.
Oh, thank you. I try. It's I attribute it to going to a theater magnet high school and then having to be a teacher for a decade where I had to think on my feet all the time. But I had a great time until I'm putting you on notice, AT&T Internet. Until the horrific wind we had in Oklahoma, I am assuming is responsible, did something to the internet connection lines. And right at the point at which the whole thing turned and like 3 players had got their introductions in, and I'm going to do something in character that my character would do. And he's an artificer. So I've decided, I've noticed that this table is a little rocky. It's uneven. I'm going to fix that. Which is awkward because I'm a giant dragonborn, not designed to crawl under tables. And so I do that. And then, sure enough, Kurt picks it up and he's stomping the floor on the board to get the table even. And I'm like, oh, yeah, we're going to do this. And boom, my internet dies.
Mm-hmm.
And I spent the next 45 minutes trying to get back on the Zoom call. And it would be like, okay, Zoom, click on the link. Discord's working very slowly. And then I'm just watching that connecting to call thing spin and spin. And I got back once, and that was it. So very sorry. Sad I missed it. Glad it went really well after I was gone.
From my perspective, it was very comical because the Dragonborn in this setting, as I said in the previous episode, are basically giant Muppets. And I saw Jesse come alive in a way where for a split second, I thought he was a Muppet because he was doing all of the things that Muppets do in the way that Muppets do them. And he's doing them right now for the audio listeners.
It's the role I was born to play.
And he played this perfectly. And and then when his internet cut out, he froze into one of those faces. And it was that moment where it was like, is this part of the bit? Like, is he just frozen? Like, and he's just, oh shit, his internet's gone, right? But it was a magnificent spectacle.
Well, thank you. It's real. I'm really looking forward to it. It's one of those things, to go back to our challenging character episodes, because like I could go 100% over the top with it and ruin the game for every other player. So finding the subtlety of being basically a Sweet'em style giant Muppet, like not just one of the puppet ones, but one of the ones that's a dude in like a hair shirt with a giant puppet on his head. But doing that in a way that it doesn't run over everybody else's feet is a thing I'm really looking forward to figuring out how to do.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to watching it all play out. So great session 0. Some great character development, great role play. The systems that I'm implementing are paying off. If this goes half as good as I am hoping it will, this is going to completely change the way I run games forevermore, which I guess is part of the topic of today and what I expect in the future.
Yeah. Yeah. Other things I've been doing in RPGs, other than getting booted out of our session by AT&T, you're on notice. I have not run a session because it's the dreaded holiday hiatus, and my games traditionally are Wednesday or Thursday, which has been Christmas and will be New Year's at the time of recording. So, not a whole lot of people getting together for the D&D. But I have, of course, been reading tons of gaming books. My 3 obsessions this week have been, 1, continuing to be really obsessed with Mage: The Awakening. And then also 13th Age 2nd edition came out. Mm. And I've been reading on that, and man, I love the potential promise of that. There's just so many cool things in that game that I'll talk about it more when we get to the actual main topic of the episode, but it's on the list. And then also on a podcast, I learned that there is a indie RPG called Mutants in the Now that came out shortly before they announced they were redoing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Other Strangeness over at Palladium. And it is a retro clone, but kind of updated with more modern sensibilities. Basically, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Other Strangeness, Mutant Animals RPG. So I have been flipping through that a little bit. And I wish I could remember the creator's name, but it's great. I'd like to shout him out, but I can't remember his name right now. I'll look it up later. Speaking of shout outs, I said I'd do this in the comments, but despite the joke at the beginning, like the Draw Steel review episode, like overwhelmingly, like so many of the Draw Steel community's comments on that post have been like, we disagree, but that's okay. You're still like, we still like the podcast. And just like that community is awesome from what I've seen. And the only like real hateful thing I've seen was from a D&D fan, but that person's now on hidden replies. So if they listen to this one, they might figure it out, but otherwise they won't.
Definitely been the fan where someone talked about my thing. I got to go tell them how great it is. Like, I understand that entirely with all of my being. I've learned to like keep it to myself at least a little bit, but I can't blame anybody. They're doing it with
like a compliment in hand while the other one is like, but you missed this point. I'm like, okay, well, as long as you're telling me I'm witty, cool.
Yeah.
Compliment sandwich.
For perspective, like, I don't give a shit about the comments. I read them. I think they're hilarious. But for a little bit of perspective, if you want to know if your comments, like how you should judge your comments, in our case, look at something in, I guess, our industry, our milieu here as a TTRPG podcast. If you really want to see what shitty comments look like, go to Ginny D's YouTube and look at some of the shitty things people have said to her. And so when you compare that against the comments that we've gotten over the years, like ours are glowing and kind and wonderful.
I'll just say for the record, I've encountered her twice briefly in Philly for PAX Unplugged 2 years in a row, and she's a delight. And hope she enjoys Paleo Vet.
I like her videos. I think they're hilarious and fun, and I'm glad they exist. And I don't know, like, I think hopefully she has a good sense of humor about it. I've looked at her social media where she says in her profile, ruining D&D, which I thought was hilarious. So I think that's the attitude you have to have with comments on the content you make. You know, there's a podcast I listen to for World of Warcraft, where it's like top end, high volume streamers, thousands of followers, hundreds of comments on their videos. And they opened an episode recently by saying like, hey, we get it that you guys like shit post on us in the comments when you disagree with us. But when we bring on guests, we don't want you to do that to them. Like, that's not how we want to be represented here. And I was like, man, if the people who love their show are saying shitty things to them, I guess that's just how the internet works. And so be it. So I don't care about the comments myself, but I read them.
Yep. I'm cool. People care enough to say anything. That's how you know you're doing something.
Yeah, one dude was like, I've never left a YouTube comment before, but here's a 5-paragraph essay.
Yeah.
You're cool, dude. All that work. I was like, that's one classy guy. Like, I'm like, so yeah, Draw Steel community, stay classy. You moved Draw Steel onto my list. Speaking of which, our main topic for tonight, 2026 gaming goals.
Jesse, can I put a stop to this immediately?
What?
Going over our 2026 gaming goals before we even get started, because we have to go over our 2025 gaming goals to see which ones came true and which ones didn't. Because, you know, usually other, you know, people who create content, they do a year in review, you know, the best games of 2025, the top news stories of 2025. We didn't do that. We said, here's what we want to do in 2025.
Did you write it down? Because I don't remember.
Yeah, I did. I did. So I want to go through at least a couple of them because there was a lot in that previous episode, which we released in March. So, you know.
Well, we are topical and timely.
Yeah. So, Jesse, you said you wanted to try Savage Rifts. Did you meet that 2025 gaming goal?
Does buying a lot more books for it count as trying it?
Not according to you in 2025, in March of 2025. Okay. You wanted to play it. You wanted to run it.
Yes, I did not do that, but I will as soon as my Savage Rifts Europa books arrive in physical form.
Okay, then now that brings up an interesting question. Do we have to then take the 2025 goals and put them into 2026 goals if we did not complete them in 2025?
No, I think I'm just going to beat myself up about it, but I don't think I'm going to move it into a New Year goal.
Well, you have a knack for noticing when someone needs support.
Thank you. What was that on the table? Was that a 7?
Yeah, that was actually, that was number 7.
Okay.
Wow.
I said that I wanted to run the cipher system.
How'd that go?
I didn't do it. And then I also made a joke that I have a feeling that I am cursed, that I will never actually end up running a cipher system game.
Okay. Caveat, though, we're going to put an asterisk next to that because you did port ciphers into the session 0 for D&D, which happened last night, December 28th. So technically...
Wow. Skinnier teeth, kind of, sort of.
Yeah. Wow. Guys, I'm going to put... I completed.
It came at it sideways in the very last minute. Goal!
I'm a strong finisher. What can I say? Here's another one, Jesse. You said you were going to keep doing the podcast.
Okay, Chris, do you think I did that or didn't do that?
All signs point to yes.
Thank you. We rely on Chris, our Magic 8 bomb.
That's right. I had the lofty goal of saying I wanted to meet Monty Cook in 2025. But I did not create enough opportunities for that to happen.
Did you at least like meet him in a quasi dream state after drinking strange tea with a hag from the Bane Warrens?
No, unfortunately not.
Oh, that's too bad. I met him once.
Yeah, and you mentioned it on that 2025 predictions episode.
Yeah, called him a magnificent bastard. Compliment intended. That was before I read Monty Cook's World of Darkness.
Which you also reference in that episode. But Jesse, you said you were going to run Vampire the Masquerade in 2025.
Nailed it. I'm currently running that campaign.
You also said you were going to run a Palladium fantasy game.
Did it?
Transformers game.
Does a one-shot count? Yes.
You were going to try another big 5e adventure a la The Curse of Strahd, and there may or may not be puppets involved.
Yes. I did not get the puppet adventure. I can't remember if at the time I was doing the Dragonlance one, but I am doing the Dragonlance one. It does not have finger puppets.
So you have not met the goal of being a puppet fucker.
Yes, this is. I will circle back. I feel like I'm in a performance review at work all of a sudden. I'll circle back on the puppet fucking and
please do
make sure that I bring that up and ask for support in my one-on-ones going forward. So, my friends here can help lead up and help me really fuck a puppet in 2026.
We got to stop saying the word puppet.
Okay.
I read a book called The Quantum Magician, a whole series called The Quantum Evolution, and you will never hear the word puppet the same again.
Oh, wow.
And the less said, the better. Let's move on.
Okay.
I do sleep with the puppets in a box next to my bed. So,
I mean, I can't even tell you how messed up that is from my weird perspective with my cursed knowledge.
Well, to end the list, Jesse and I both said that we wanted to get back to Eberron, and that meant different things for both of us. In Jesse's case, he wanted to do a Frontiers of Eberron mini campaign with an England versus Afghanistan theme. Think the 1500s, the Great Game.
No, that didn't happen at all. That was going to require way more research. And at the time, I think still to this day. So what I know exactly what went wrong with that one. It wasn't really the research. It was the fact that Frontiers of Eberron Quickstone, which was going to be the core text for that game, is not available on D&D Beyond, despite being made for 2024.
Mm-hmm. But you could just seamlessly implement all of its content as custom rules.
I do that in Foundry sometimes when I run Foundry stuff. But it's like if I'm going to go off of D&D Beyond, I'm just going to try a different game, I think, at this point.
Well, Jesse, people trust you, and that says a lot about your character.
Thank you. You know who I trust? Chris. I trust Chris.
Last name?
Yeah, Chris last name. I trust him to tell us one of his, as we segue seamlessly into this, one of his 2026 RPG gaming goals.
My sources say no.
Oh, okay. Well, shit.
No, I made a quick list before we started recording.
Well, how are we going to do this? Round robin? Just
yeah, we'll do one at a time.
I'd like to get back to Rollmaster just enough to finish up the Nork campaign that Jesse, you and I were playing in.
Mm-hmm.
And
the classic module.
Just a little bit more Swamp Master for some of the people that were playing on random Tuesday nights with me. So we had someone jump in for their second ever role playing experience, and I would love to give them some more opportunities to explore their cool elven mushroom hippie druid. It was a good vibe.
Second ever RPG experience jumps into Rollmaster, which, if you haven't heard us talk about it on the show before, is probably the crunchiest RPG I have ever actually played. There might be one that is more crunchy, but like seriously, like 20, 30 pages of crit tables and charts to reference for like weapon type versus the type of armor. And they are fun. The crit tables are fun, but I don't know if you could do it without Era. I know people used to, but
that's the easy part, really. It's that every skill has, not every skill, many skills have different resolution tables or special rules or several things to consider expressed in several paragraphs. It's all very simulationist and interesting and sometimes extremely fun, but it's a lot of overhead.
I do want to say I hope that happens because, one, I really enjoyed playing in that game, but it's really fun. If you've heard Chris talk about running games or, you know, like I've talked about playing in games Chris plays, like Chris's story first, like modern gaming principles, like he integrates them seamlessly with Rollmaster somehow. And so you don't even notice that there's all this crunch on it, and it's pretty great.
Nobody said I was getting compliments this episode. I don't know.
Well, I made a table completely unrelated. So, are you a Squirm public praise guy?
I just don't know how to process compliments, but that's okay. We'll make a joke out of it and move on.
Cool.
I live, laugh, love that for you. Jesse mentioned it earlier, but just like in the Draw Steel episode, I want to run a Draw Steel game in 2026. I tried really hard to make that fit for this current project and start in 2025, but I ended up going back to D&D 5e because there are other things I want to be doing in this game as a part of like how I run it, how I prep for it, how it's executed, the things I ask of my player characters. And I was like, I don't know if it's really going to work if I then also throw in a brand new system that plays differently than we're used to, because we don't typically use virtual tabletops and tactical maps and stuff like that. So I'm like, maybe that's a bit too much to ask the group that like, hey, on top of all these other things we're going to be doing, brand new game system we all have to learn together as well. So I'm going to just put that off until 2026 and hopefully fulfill that, unlike playing the Cypher system. So Draw Steel. I'm going to run a Draw Steel one shot in 2026. That is one of my gaming goals. What about you?
There's
Jesse?
a great starter adventure. Sorry.
The Delian Tomb?
Mm-hmm.
Highly recommended in the comments.
I'm going to go sort of metatextual on this and say one of the things that I like, the whole point of this bookshelf, I was thinking about this today, prepping for the episode on the drive home for work. Like, what to say about this? And I realized it's nice to reflect on your hobbies. The whole point of this library, beyond the world fiction and the narrative that I love, is also I'm really motivated to find efficiency. And so reading all these rules, learning all these mechanics, picking up all this like advice about like how to run games is sort of me trying to optimize the efficiency of what it takes to run a satisfying and engaging game with the least amount of possible fucking effort. And all it's cost me is like decades of my life and tens of thousands of dollars. So I want to get a venue set up where I can put more of these things on the table. So one of my goals is to get a pretty regular Saturday open table, drop in, drop out, set up going. So I have an excuse to try out more of these systems in pursuit of that efficiency.
Love it.
I heard about it on this podcast called the Jaunty Mantis.
What did you call this? Metatextual?
Yes. I don't think I used that word correctly. I just use big words because it makes me feel good.
Well, the words do what I tell them.
Your brain clearly takes interesting side quests.
This is the worst bit ever.
Chris, you're up next.
Oh man. For my Sunday group, my core game, I would say, or RPG group. We do want to get some Traveler character creation and a couple sessions of that. That's like next on the list. So hopefully I thought that'd be this year, but holidays. And then I've got calls for making like just 5e characters and playing a relatively straightforward D&D campaign, a much shorter one, probably not a 5-year one, but you never know, turns out. And my caveat for that is I'd like to play some like world creation games and stuff like Microscope and The Quiet Year, Decima, any of those, just to kind of fill out some stuff before we hit the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And then, after that, I like playing games with those people a whole lot. So keep them trying new games and experiencing new things. And
what's Decima?
Decima. Kimmy from Happy Jack's RPG podcast is a game designer now.
Ooh, that's
which,
pretty.
If you were listening 10, 15 years ago, you might not know that. Golden Lasso Games. It's R&D for your RPG. It's a tarot-inspired card game that helps the GM and their players collaboratively create all the important details for their campaign. So I did it at the start of my Spelljammer campaign, and it was fun. We used the Chessex Mondo mat to like kind of draw out the ideas and locations, but it's basically questions and prompts on tarot style cards, and there's a system to kind of step through the various rounds of world creation and stuff. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I recommend it.
Cool.
Yeah. Currently on the show, there's kind of a running joke on Happy Jacks about how she's not reading through all the emails that they're reading on the episodes. And at the end of them, people are putting in praise for that product. And so at the end of every email, it sounds like she's accidentally reading a commercial for her awesome
or
thing.
the hosts are taking a moment to praise her in her game, and she's like, ugh,
yeah,
not what we're trying to do here.
Microscope, if you're unaware, is a game of creating histories where you basically lay out a series of index cards and through a series of turns, like pick poles in history or pick points in history, and then you can zoom in and zoom out. You can stick new historical events like in between other polls and like the answer question. And then when you do role play, you can like zoom way into a scene of where people are in the room where it happened. And you just say, I want to be this character, you this, and then you free form play it out without dice. But like when I first picked it up, I was like, man, this would be great to play a session or two of Microscope in order to like basically lay out a history of the world, because you basically just tricked your players into reading or helping to write the campaign setting. So
yeah, I played it once on. I think we used a Miro board to. I actually just pulled it up. I haven't looked at this in like 2 years.
We did it on the show, didn't we?
We had plans to. We may have recorded it, but I don't know if it ever made it. I think that one also got archived.
Oh, so there's two in the archive. Okay.
There's a note called Mortal Warlocks begin making pacts with eldritch beings.
Well, don't do that, Mortal Warlocks. That's a terrible idea.
Demons are sighted again for the first time since an ancient age. Also, there's Batman on this one.
Oh, Chris, I'm interested to find out how one accidentally has a D&D 5e game that goes 8 years or 5 years or 3 years or even 1 year, because all of mine kind of peter out at like pre 1 year mark.
Yeah, I wish I knew the secret so I could replicate it. But in my case, I was hanging out at a tea house working on other games, and people were talking about D&D and Adventure Zone and Matt Mercer's game and stuff. And I was like, I'll run a game for y'all. Here we are. It helped that they all worked at the same place, and that place closed early on Sundays. And so even though I get up early Monday morning, I was like, sure, why not? Sunday at 7, let's go.
I love that.
The rest is history. I don't know.
Jaunty Mantis advice for your long-running campaign: insert yourself into a work group of friends and then get them all to play a game with you.
Specifically, finding people that have the same schedule and light load of responsibilities. I mean, they were mostly college students, so it is what it is. But compared to people that have kids, like some of my other games, and full-time salary, overtime, not paid jobs, it can be hard to step away from those to, have a pleasant evening with your homies.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. Oh, and the third one, Quiet Year. Just, for the listeners, if you haven't heard of the Quiet Year.
This is a joke where you're being quiet, or am I supposed to talk about it?
I was going to say, are we doing a bit right now?
I learned about it. Well, no, I don't know where I learned about it, but I remember listening to that.
It's the Quiet Year.
The guys on the Adventure Zone played Quiet Year as a setup for a D&D campaign where they were playing in like this underwater fantasy world. And so they use the Quiet Year it's basically like the lead up to a disaster or a significant change in the world. And it's similar to Microscope in that you're instantiating things and then also occasionally playing scenes where you're not necessarily a particular character, but you're like a voice for a faction or a group of people, but they got to kind of detail and create a map similar to Decima of like, where things are, important nodes in both geography and history.
Yeah, it's a specific.
Go ahead.
It's the Quiet Year.
Yeah,
it's a map making game where as you play, everyone goes around the table, and someone pointed out on another podcast, I can't remember, it might have been Happy Jacks, but they were saying like there's very specific rules about when you can talk in that game, and that's sort of where the actual fun of the play works. Is like if you are mad or you feel like your faction's not being considered, you can take, what are they called, contempt tokens or something.
If you don't like someone's addition or change to something,
you just pick up like if you bought the pack, like it's a little skull bead, you just pick up a skull bead and just set it in front of you and just stare at them, but you can't say shit unless you use your turn to call like a meeting to talk it over. So it's pretty interesting, but you come out of it with like a year of the history of this settlement or whatever set up, and you're ready to take it into another game. So those are cool goals.
I forgot it was my turn. That's awesome.
Yeah, I guess it's my turn, and I kind of already mentioned it. And Jesse, let me ask you a question, because you look like you give surprisingly good advice at 2:17 a.m. So should I keep going with the 1 to 20 D&D 5e game? This was something I wanted to like take off my bucket list, as I've never run or played in a D&D game that's gone from level 1 to 20. That was the project. Then some big changes for Maddie, because that's life, and so that's kind of been put to the side. That's kind of why I said, Chris, like, how do you end up getting a game that goes long enough? Because asking for a friend, but I'll put that one on my 2026, and then let that one down because that was on my 2025. So I'm gonna try to do the 1 to 20 game in 2026. I'm going to try to finish it.
Okay. Bring it back. I would just say the question is, should you do it? Are you interested in seeing what characters do at higher levels of power mechanically? Because like, if you're not, like if you're like, I don't care what a 15th level fight looks like, then no, just continue telling a cool story in whatever system you want to. If you are interested, and I will mention that I am interested to see what a level 15 monk can do, then go for it.
Yeah. All right. Makes sense. What about you, Jesse? What's your next one?
I think we'll get into systems now. I really, really want to try Mythic Bastionland. And run it. So Mythic Bastionland is an Into the Odd game. The Into the Odd family of RPGs are OSR games that what makes them interesting is that you only roll saving throws. Like if there is a chance of suffering a consequence of the thing you say you're doing, you roll a saving throw to see if you avoid that consequence. It is really deadly in combat. The game is not about necessarily fighting, because when you fight, you hit automatically and automatically deal damage, and so do the enemies. So it is about looking for ways to avoid the fight or, make the fight severely in your favor. And Mythic Bastionland is the game of these odd questing knights. It's a hex crawl. There's generational play involved. You can wind up running the kingdom, and the rules are really tight, and it has some really great examples of the rules in the back of the book with like commentary about like, you could do this as well. And so it seems like a game that'd be really fun to run and be really neat to see what story comes up out of it.
I love it.
That's me.
I'll segue that into something at the end of my list, but read more RPG books. And I just put Mythic Bastionland at the top of that list because my flip through, especially with its kind of similarities to Troika in the way the characters exist and the way it's very evocative without being super descriptive a lot of the time. That's one I would love to have, ready to go if we need to pivot when people can't make it, or if I have a surprise New Year's Eve game like happened last year. We played my 8-player board game, and then it was like, what do we do now? Maybe it'll be Mythic Bastionland instead of Troika this year. Also, was just trying to think of other games I need to read. I know there's a long list. God, what are the last 2 things I bought on, what is it, Greater
Index
Than Games?
Card RPG.
Yeah, that'd be super great. There's a author named Charles Stross. He wrote the Laundry Archives, and it's what if all the Cthulhu stuff was real, but the secret was math. Like, as humans have developed computers, we've gotten much better at doing things that rituals kind of did poorly. And so all these extra dimensional things are leaking into our world. And so it's, a modern day urban fantasy kind of thing, but from an author who's, I've read at least one of his book that's not from that series, and I didn't understand what he was talking about the whole time. It was like, what if World of Warcraft and banking were the same thing? And super great book series. And I haven't really run an urban fantasy thing before. Maybe Monster of the Week would be more my speed, but I'd like to at least give a try of running this one.
You should also check out Urban Shadows.
Yeah, I've heard that name come up.
Yeah, it's a PBTA. It's published by Magpie, so it's powered by the Apocalypse. But it is a real great toolkit for urban fantasy. Laundry Files is a Cortex game, isn't it?
That sounds right. I own the book, and I have for a couple of years now, and I've never read the RPG book.
I remember seeing it on the shelf at Little Shop of Games. Rest in power, Little Shop of Games.
2015. RIP.
Wow.
Cool. What about urban fantasy is kind of drawing you?
I mean, part of it is to mix it up. Like, I'd love to run something in every genre I'm even vaguely interested in, I find trying to play something set in the current world or something close to it to be a little more, it just stresses me out thinking about it, because then that might be a place that people, or the extant lore about it is way more detailed, right? Like, I can read a Wikipedia article and watch the 3 episodes of the Clone Worlds and know everything about the planet that the Twi'leks are from that I need to know. And I'll probably have more knowledge than most anybody in my game just from that endeavor, right? But, if we're playing, like, the Laundry Files takes place in England, the books do for the most part. So I've never been there, like, if I read a Wikipedia article, it's going to be a long one, and it'll be a long rabbit hole. So just trying to figure out how to set my level of detail for that one is, it feels like a lot to chew, a lot to bite off.
Yeah, I went to, when I was at Gen Con, I attended a seminar on like building your city for urban shadows. And like one of the problems I've had is that same like, oh, if it's the real world in a city that we know, that everybody knows the real lore and the verisimilitude of having things be in the right place. And the guys in the panel was like, you can just make stuff up for your city. Like it's an RPG. Like, yeah, I'm like, okay, I can just make up things. Like,
Do what I do when I watch movies that are based on franchises I enjoyed in my youth from, comics or fantasy books or children's shows. Like, it's just an alternate reality. I think reading comics really got that into me because they literally introduce alternate universes and realities. And you feel like, oh, yeah, this is the one where Nightcrawler's not the cool leader of his mutant team. He's just a scared guy again. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Awesome.
I think, Maddie, you're up next, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, yes, you are not mistaken.
What did Maddie do?
Well, Chris, you definitely prefaced this one by mentioning Twi'leks and their home planet of Rylak, whatever.
Ryloth.
That's what it is.
Come on, man, get it together. Did you name your son after a Twi'lek?
Yes. Harrison Dula's father, So if you know, you know. Anyway, I am going to fall back in love with Star Wars again real quick. I didn't fall out of love with Star Wars, but periodically at certain times throughout the year, I get the Star Wars bug hard, and I usually end up watching something Star Wars related, and then that kind of just like opens up that rabbit hole, and then my wife and I grab each other by the hand and then just jump right in. So I'm going to end up running a Star Wars game of some sort in 2026 is my prediction. I've already started amassing this like super long Star Wars playlist of like songs that I want to use as inspiration. I do that with Spotify playlists for my role-playing games. I start collecting music and then listen to it to help me get into the mood. And it's really easy because Star Wars music is awesome. So the only question then is what system to do it in, because I'm not going to do it in the D20 Star Wars, and I'm not going to do it in the Saga edition of Star Wars.
There's only one answer. West End Games D6, man.
There you go. That's what I was going to say. Like,
ran that in high school.
I had that book, and I was fascinated with it, especially since it had like some extra universe, non-canon features to it that I thought was fascinating as a child. So I think you're right. I think that's the one to run.
That's back in the 90s. They were, card TCG companies and RPG companies that were just adding stuff to this third party lore. And some of it is so good.
Yeah. And some of it's not, but
sometimes it's novels and Chewbacca is killed by a moon. So, I would also say the Fantasy Flight Star Wars, with the gimmick dice is like, I had a blast every time I played it. I had a blast every game session that I ran, and the way that it kind of compartmentalizes, like, here's the scoundrel one, here's the rebellion one, here's the force sensitive one, but you can use like feats, classes, or, like species from any one of them across the board is pretty cool. There's a lot of stuff out there.
I played in the starter adventure for that, and I really liked what I saw of the system, and I wanted to play it. I would still run it or play it for sure.
How does it handle the Jedi problem that most other Star Wars games have, where the Jedi is just ridiculously way overpowered than everybody else?
I don't think that they're way overpowered in this system, because everybody's kind of a heroic class, and they make force use potentially a little risky. Like, there's a cool force die mechanic where you draw on the force and you can choose to use it to buff your power, but you roll a dice and like it gives you pips of force power, and like sometimes it's the dark side. And so you would be like, well, I could use this to buff that power up and do it, but I would draw on the dark side, and because my emotions are running too high right now, so maybe I won't, because I don't want to buy some red and yellow contact lenses. So and also too, it's like, it's the timeline that they're all set in. Like the implied timeline is like the age of the Empire. So there's rules for making like non-Jedi force sensitive characters that are like seeking some answer to the mystery of this connection they feel, but they don't have full on Jedi powers. That's Force and Destiny is the one that handles that. And they do have a little sidebar about like Jedi mode. If you want to play a game where everybody's a Jedi, give them like 15 experience points or something and go. So.
Yeah. I mean, I was
the
thinking
Acolyte because it's awesome. Just saying.
So here's what I think of the Acolyte. All right. I think
best fights in Star Wars. I'll fight anybody that disagrees.
My first thing is not enough Carrie-Anne Moss. Okay. I think Carrie-Anne Moss was fucking made as an actor to play a Jedi. And I was disappointed it didn't have more of her in it. I was not satisfied or pleased with the season, but I thought it was a great show that had a rough or a bit of a stumble of a start. So I thought it was a shame that it got canceled. I was very much looking for it developing into something bigger because I'm like, this is a good show that just had a bad start, in my opinion. But there's a lot of cool shit that happens in it. And it's one of the best looking pieces of Star Wars. Like there's so much attention to detail and everything. And so many things that we love about the way Star Wars looks, like the way that they do like snow falling through the holes in that cavern in the first episode, the same technique they were using in Empire Strikes Back, you know, to do that flurry snow that's coming through.
I didn't realize that.
All the things that we fucking loved about how they made Star Wars are essentially in the Acolyte. And I'll always appreciate it for that, amongst other reasons.
Cool.
But the thing I wanted to say was that I thought maybe the solution to the Jedi issue was the same as like the Buffy the Vampire Slayer role playing game, where it's like one person just plays the Slayer, and the Slayer is really powerful, and they're more powerful than all the other characters, and that's just kind of the conceit of the game, and everybody agrees to it. That was going to be my like easy out. Because otherwise,
the Doctor Who game does the same thing. The person who is the Doctor is just, you know, like better than everyone else. But
yeah,
with the amount of Palladium games you and I have played this year, who cares about character balance?
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to kick it over to you, Jesse.
Well, I have just learned I get to play in a Star Wars game this year, so I'm super excited about that. I think that I really want to do something set in a Stone Age world. I want to do some caveman shit. And I'm like, the promise of Plaingia, because Maddie and I both love that book to death, is so great that I'm like, it's either that or Primal Quest, which is somewhere over here, I think. It's an OSR game. I don't know. I got so many of these zine-sized things kicking around. God knows. But it's an OSR one that has a really cool starter adventure where you drink hallucinogenic tea in this cave of your people, and then suddenly these two corridors open up that take you to the past and future of your people that introduces this threat that gets picked up in the Hexcrawl adventure after it. So I want to do something with Stone Age in a Stone Age implied setting.
Nice.
That sounds very fun.
Yeah, Plaingia, man, so fucking awesome. It doesn't even have to be Dungeons and Dragons. Like there's so much good material in there, but it really makes me want to throw everything from Plaingia into D&D, like how they do warlocks and how they do wizards and all of that shit. So I'm with you on that one.
Cool. Chris, back to you.
Oh, damn. So next on my list for next year is getting back to Warhammer 40K. We played, I think, 2 sessions of the Wrath and Glory RPG game to theoretically frame some actual Warhammer 40K tabletop war game.
I just want to play more Wrath and Glory.
Yeah. I mean, that's the part I'm a little more excited about. They made my main army too strong in the game recently. And so I was playing AdMech instead of Death Guard because of that. And AdMech is interesting. I don't know. I wasn't quite, the units I want to do certain things weren't doing them. And so I was having to like evolve to the meta, even though all I do is play fun Crusade games. So that's kind of made me less stoked about playing the tabletop war game. Although I do have those Kroot I've been working on. So I'm hoping as the person running the Wrath and Glory RPG game to use them as like a mercenary force in the war game that people can employ if they can't make it to like a wargaming day or whatever. But I'd like to get back on that. I'd like to get as many people as we can involved in it. You know, we had Lars jump in, and he doesn't even play, you know, the miniatures game. He just likes RPGs when he can get in, and that was cool. So there's all kinds of space. I feel like between these two things to have like an interesting open tables situation. You know, I'd love to have like 4 people playing the RPG and 4 more people on 2 different tables resolving important battles, missions, or conflicts using the tabletop war game. You know, that would be peak nerdery as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm excited to play that.
Jesse, you get the best of both worlds.
I know, this is really just like, this is a great episode. I'm just like, what am I going to be doing with my weekends for the 2026? Oh, yeah. Cool. I like all of this.
More games and more places.
It's so true. It's almost like you have the aura of someone with maxed out wisdom, but refuses to admit it.
Thank you.
You may rely on it, the Magic 8 Ball says.
All right.
What? Oh, are we done?
I was going to say drink. I mean, go.
So I'm thinking this is my final one because I'm going to be leveling up as a game mother in 2026. A lot of the stuff that we've talked about on this show this year, with the addition of Chris' last name over the last couple of years when we started this show, a lot of it has sunk in for me and really helped expand my brain. Like I've heard about when other people learn a foreign language, it starts to change the way their brain works. And I feel like this show has had that effect on me. And so last night we started that with that session 0 for this new 5e game. I am doing things drastically different and I'm taking some big swings. And even in one session, I could tell that my gaming group was really enjoying it. They were eating it up and it was really working. And it got me super excited to see how the rest of this plays out. I know that not all of these things are going to land very well. Some of them are not going to land at all. Some of them are going to be really, really cool. Others are going to be abysmal failures. But I'm hoping that by the end of the 2026, Maddie will be a different game mother. I will have rewritten my gamer brain and I'm now doing things much, much differently. So that is one of my goals for 2026.
Cool. That's also the benefit of the podcast, being on the podcast, is like we just get to talk about this and talk theory and advice and high level stuff. And it's just like, you know, if nothing else, even if no one ever watches or listens to this, like it's helping me have more fun when I run and play games. So like, cool. I think this will be my last one too. I would like to write and self-publish something this year, gaming related. I got 2 ideas that I'm kicking on, whether it's like something for the implied setting that we came up with for the Beneath when we were doing the Kevin Crawford stuff.
Really?
Yeah. I'd like to, I don't know whether it's just an adventure. I don't know that like right out the gate, I'm going to write a whole campaign setting. I don't think that's a realistic goal. Unless I had a brain trust that was willing to work on it with me, then maybe it'd be possible. Or also too, as a quick one, I'd kind of like when Chris and I did the episode about the intersection between skirmish games and RPGs, we then went on to play Forbidden Psalm, and I'm like, I want to make a ship version of Forbidden Psalm that's like basically 40K adjacent, like space churches,
Battlefleet Gothic, but easy and fun.
Yeah, traveling through hell to just roll some dice and put whatever ship you have on the table. And then I think it'd be fun at first and then agony to make the table of 100 like ship names that when you select your fleet, you then can roll on to, get Facius Latinus name. So
it's funny that you mentioned Beneath again, Jesse, because in 2025's gaming goals, you also mentioned you wanted to do something more with Beneath. I'm excited. I'm excited by the prospect.
Yeah, it's a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. So if I can just stop talking about it and sit down and start typing, some will come out of it. But I want to it's one of those, this whole efficiency thing. Like, it's great until I am reviewing like every single possible option for efficiency. And so I never actually start. So the question is like, if I'm going to do something for Beneath, what game system would I like to do it for? I better make a plan. We'll see if I follow through to test out all these OSR games I have to see which one is the perfect fit for the most efficient way to write this thing that I'd like to write. So I think the challenge will be getting over that and just sitting down and typing.
Well, couldn't you make it system agnostic, or is that too obvious?
Yeah, I mean, I could, but how I feel about rules for RPGs. Like, part of the fun would be thinking up, the mechanical teeth of the endeavor as well. So I
feel like we should devote an episode to this idea. Part of it is to help you work through this, and the other part of it is to kind of dissect our necessity to put these things in actual systems. There's so many other things you could do. Being system agnostic is one. There's other things you could do that come to mind. Like, instead of firmly planting it in a system, you could create small mechanics and rules that work with whatever it is you're writing that could be added on in a modular capacity to any system or type of system, right? So you could make modular rules that maybe fit into Draw Steel or D&D 5th edition, or Warhammer Fantasy or whatever the case may be. So
that's wild that you put it that way, because I was just thinking towards the beginning of this recording about Bruce Lee's Jeet Kune Do philosophy, which is vaguely kind of how I try to run games, but I feel like I could lean into it a little more. But you just take whatever works for you or for the moment or both from everything and combine it. Because when I'm running games, I'm bad at keeping tabs on exactly what the rules say at all times. Mm-hmm. But my resolution mechanics have been built up and layered on the shoulders of the giants of all these different games we've played, to hopefully make a Gestalt that is fun and interesting and exciting for that particular moment, and not necessarily for the script of one particular rule set. So rules do matter, but you can beat them up and smash them up into your subconscious and just let them vomit forth in the moment without thinking about it. Like the way I talk most of the time.
I love the idea of the GM philosophy, this is how I run games. We should do an episode based on that, because mine is similar but very different from the short summary version that you just gave. So I would be very interested in hearing more about yours and Jesse's, even though I'm very familiar with Jesse's, and then having us compare the three of them.
I think I'm just going to wildly misinterpret Chris's comment. I'm going to be every day, I'm just going to have a stack of Exalted books on my table with my hand 1 inch away from them, trying to punch them off the table with a 1-inch punch.
Yes.
Like Bruce Lee.
I love this so much.
going to ruin my hand and my Exalted books. 2026.
He also had a stop kick move. I remember reading about it in a martial arts magazine. As soon as you see someone kick, you're just Bruce Lee. So you're so fast, you kick their leg before they finish kicking. Easy. Everybody should be doing that, right?
Yeah.
My turn, I believe.
Yeah, you got more? Go.
Oh, man, I got something. Just kidding. I'm going to combine it into two. I want to kind of wrap up a couple games, not wrap up the games, but at least move them on to their next chapter or season. My monthly game, we've been playing Spelljammer for like 2 years now, maybe. We certainly have about that many 24 episodes. We play once a month. So I'd like to finish that season 1, have them complete the adventure, get their hopefully big treasure reward, and move on to new things. See if the group wants to continue playing that or try something new and come back to that later. And then my Thursday night game, which we've only played like maybe twice in the last 3 or 4 months because holidays and kids and people moving and changing schools for their kids, all that stuff. But we've been in Undermountain in the Waterdeep Nights game, and I would love to get back to Waterdeep so they can see how their tavern's doing, that kind of fun stuff. So yeah, moving those games along. And then I'd like to run something for you guys, even if it's just a one-shot or something, to give us, again, more fodder to talk about new systems, new experiences. I was hoping to do that with Rollmaster, but it's harder to get Maddie into a game, unfortunately. Goals, though. We got a whole year.
Yeah. Yeah. Should we double down on it and make it an actual play as well?
I mean, that's up to you guys. I feel like if we're doing it online
in 2026,
it'd be easier to get good audio.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And that corresponds with the rest of my second one is I just want to play more games with friends in these trying times. You know, that was kind of my goal, even though I wasn't on a podcast talking about it this year. But with all the stressors around, it's nice to just make up crazy shit with my friends and learn and explore very important rule sets and play them accurately at all times. For Jesse.
That's important. Yes.
It is. System mastery matters to me. So I feel seen. Thank you. That's far kinder than any compliment Maddie gave me in this entire episode.
Yeah.
Wow.
To be oppositional, I wasn't going to compliment you, but one slipped in. So,
rapid fire for me is there's like a bunch of games that I bought this year that are on a list of like the only way it's going to happen is if I just like prep characters and then do one shots. But I really want to try Twilight 2000. I want to play some Dungeon Crawl classics. I want to play Coriolis the Great Dark. I want to play this Alien Evolved Edition. But the only way any of those things are going to happen is if I run them. And so we'll see if I get around to it or not.
Mm-hmm.
I believe in you.
Thanks.
And the given for me is, Cypher system, of course.
Yeah. I want to do 13th Age, 2nd edition, real bad. So we'll see if that's true in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I believe in you, man. You've been on what's the Wizardly one?
Mage. Yeah. 3 weeks.
Yeah, you've been on a mage kick for at least 3 weeks.
3 weeks. Yeah. Not bad.
That's basically a lifestyle for you in RPGs.
Yeah. And will we ever see that Phantom Dark Sun game from Jesse?
Yeah, probably. I like Dark Sun, but now I'm holding my breath for D&D 2024 Dark Sun. So like,
they have hinted at it, right? With the materials,
the Unearthed Arcana, the what is it, like the Circle of Preservation Druid, the Sorcerer King Pact Warlock, the Gladiator Fighter, and then the Defiler Sorcerer. Yeah, I feel like that was pretty subtle that they're thinking about it at least. So cool. Well, we got a lot that we got to get done in 2026. So,
oof, you ain't kidding.
I get to play Star Wars this year. Hooray. I'm just saying, like, my Star Wars character, who am I really inspired by? And it's that young, like, theory idealist from Andor, like, who gives that badass speech about like how tyranny is so unnatural. Like, I'm like, that's a cool idea in there. I don't know.
He's giving big poetry vibes, which I relate to you, so that makes sense. I've wanted to run a West End game Star Wars for a while. They did a anniversary edition a while back, and I've picked up a few old books that I've seen in shops since I don't own most of the books I played out of in high school anymore, but it's a very cool system. I had this great idea because I have a big X-Wing miniatures collection for that kind of fighter-based miniature game. Have everybody roll up like a mercenary pilot, and we resolve all the actual dogfights with that game. And then play the RPG in between. Kind of not dissimilar to what we're doing with Warhammer Wrath and Glory game.
I love that.
I would do that as long as we could do it in Armada. And I could be a Star Destroyer. What's your character? I'm a Star Destroyer.
Listen, both my parents were Star Destroyers, so I have to be a Star Destroyer.
Yeah. I'm, what's your character's name? The ISS Vengeance. Like, oh, okay. What do you do? Destroy stars?
I venge things.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Well, I think we're about at the end of our time for this evening. But, gentlemen, thank you so much for hanging out, chatting about games. It's been a blast as always. And if you like what you heard, reach out to us and tell us, either in the comments below on YouTube. Hey, you can leave comments on Spotify now. If you like what you heard and you want to help us out, leave us a review anywhere. Helps people discover us. And you can reach us with your own creative questions at jauntymantis@gmail.com or at jauntymantis on Blue Sky and on Threads. So, yeah, get out there and make wildly excessive plans for the next year in RPGs, or don't.
Yeah.
Play more games with your friends every opportunity.
Yeah. And Jesse, hey, don't forget, you're oddly important to this timeline.